The audience is pretty used to seeing this organ from the seating behind us, and it gives you a rather different approach to what's going on, because all you can see are the organist's feet back, and once in a while a hand that sticks out from behind the person that's playing. Let's take a few minutes, and I'd like to give you a tour, sort of a cockpit tour of the Temple Theater Barton organ, and we'll take a look at some of the things that you really don't see. Well, first of all, the pedals. Let's see what the pedals do. They play musical instruments, and they're used for rhythm. The right foot over here rides up and down on these two pedals, and what they do is open and close the shutters up in the chamber, because organ pipes only play one volume all the time, full blast. So the only way to control the sound of the organ is to confine it in a chamber and use these shutters that open and close to let the sound out under control. So actually we're muting the organ rather than making it louder. Not only are there keys for the feet in the pedal board, but there are also, notice, 3 keyboards here for the hands. And each one of those is 61 notes, and it allows the performer to play one keyboard, a second keyboard with accompaniment, now, the keyboards overhang one another, and that's done on purpose because now we can play like we had 3 hands. And that's not just simple enough. Suppose we had the ability on the bottom keyboard to play other notes by making the key go down further, called second touch. So now we can play like we have 4 hands. Across the top are a horseshoe-shaped stop rail. And these are the controls for the sounds of the organ. We'll take a close look at those and see that they have orchestral names on them. Originally, the Temple Theater had a pit orchestra consisting of 10 musicians, and under the conduction and direction of Joe Abernathy. Joe was very talented. He played the violin and used his violin bow to conduct both the orchestra and people that were performing up on the stage. Can you see the names on the tabs? Maybe you have to come where I am. You know, things like the flute, strings, tuba, and those are called tone colors. Interestingly enough, those stops are color-coded according to the tone chamber that they make. In other words, the flutes are like the flute, strings, and reeds. And they're available at various pitches so that we can have an 8-foot, we can have an octave higher at 4-foot, and we can have an octave higher at 2-foot. Or we can play all three at once. One of the reasons that the stops are in this horseshoe arrangement is it allows the organist to grab and change things rather quickly while playing. But if you really wanted to change a lot of things quickly, you'd need a better way than doing it by hand. And so that's what these little buttons are between the keyboards. They're called pistons. And each one of them has a memory that allows the stops to change with merely the pressing of a button. One of the members of the pit orchestra that was very important was, of course, the rhythm section. And that person had a lot of drums and toys to play with. So here on the organ we have a complement of sounds, all real instruments that are played from the organ keys. Like in the pedal we have the bass drum, there's a cymbal, we have a snare drum, and then on the accompaniment or bottom keyboard we have some interesting things like the tambourine, some castanets, the wood block, the tom-tom, and once again a snare drum. So with the combination of the snare drum on the bottom keyboard and the bass drum and cymbal on the pedals, we have a rhythm section. There are also some tuned percussions, like for instance, cathedral chimes. There's a xylophone, and the xylophone has a repeat, just like as if it were being played by a manual person. And on the other side of the theater we have a bell harp. The chrysoglot harp. Down here on the pedals there are 3 other sound effects. One of them is the thunderstorm. And then the bird. And finally the grand crash.